Hello everyone! So in today's video we're going to talk about Unity plugins that we use for our game. We have already mentioned once that our team has a couple of VFX artists, which means that we can model, compose and design, and of course our wonderful writer who writes amazing stories, which also means that as a group we know very little, if anything, about programming. And programming is kind of very important for game development. So the plugin that basically saved our game was the Adventure Creator. After we decided what we generally want our game to look like, we realized that we need to program a lot of things. We needed stuff like inventory and dialogue system and game saves and just a whole lot of minor things that you need for a game to properly function. However, with our current skill level and all by ourselves, we probably would have done it in a few years' time and badly. So we basically looked for something that would do most of the programming for us. Turned out there is quite a number of plugins to choose from. Some of them are more specific, so they only solve one problem, like dialogues or inventory. Others are more complex, they basically do everything. And they make things much easier in terms of coding. But they also do have a downside. The more they kind of dumb down the coding part for the developer, the harder it is to deviate from the standard options that the plugin gives you. Like if you want, for instance, to incorporate some unusual game mechanic that is not a default, you might have a hard time trying to attach it on top of the plugin that you're using. Adventure Creator is a plugin that we use essentially as a base for our game. It was probably made originally for something more like point-and-click games, but apparently it works fine for a third-person walking simulator as well. On the official site there is quite a number of very useful assets that you can download. Like the ones that we use are the mobile controller for your game and cinemachine cameras, and also you can download the assets that allow you to incorporate Adventure Creator into third-party plugins. We loved Adventure Creator because first of all it gave us what we wanted: an inventory system, a logbook, a dialogue system and game saving options. Also, when it comes to dialogues and quests, it uses the node structure, which is kind of familiar to us after years working in Nuke, and it is always easier to work with systems that you are already used to. And most importantly, if there is some function that you need and that Adventure Creator is lacking, you can always integrate your own script into the Adventure Creator. Adventure Creator has its own wiki, and it also has an awesome forum. And its amazing developer Chris actually answers all your tricky questions pretty quickly. So Chris, if you ever see this video, we love you, you're a legend. ChatGPT. Aside from what functionality you have with Adventure Creator, every once in a while you still need to code something. And then what comes to our aid is not plugins actually, but AI, our favorite ChatGPT and Claude. Obviously, our needs for this game are not that complicated, so vibe coding really helps. True programmers would totally condemn this type of code, but it works for us. And to be fair, it doesn't always work on the first attempt, but after a few clarifications and a little back and forth with AI, it manages to write a working script. You can also ask AI to explain which part of the script does what, so you're kind of learning programming on the way, which is a bonus. It is also kind of magical, you know? Now we talk to computers and they talk back. And Eugen basically trained this ChatGPT helper who kind of developed a personality of his own by now. So Eugen basically explained him his role and what he wants from this assistant, and gave him all the documents and sites where he could go for information, and made a nice icon, and bingo! Now we have an adventure creator assistant, and we don't have to Google, and we don't have to distract Chris from important things, when we have some stupid questions. Object placement tool. Placing similar objects on a landscape is a bit of a drag. It takes a lot of time, and objects need to be different sizes, with different rotation, and placed randomly, but still not too randomly because they have to make sense in the landscape. Creating this natural-looking chaos manually is not fast or easy. To solve this problem, there are a few different plugins. You can always use Prefab Painter 2, which is free. But the one that we really like is called Object Placement Tool, and it costs about $10. We used it to plant trees, flowers, bushes, and to scatter rocks. Umra Boundary Builder. Although our game is open world, sometimes it's important to set some healthy boundaries. Jumping off cliffs, walking on water, and drowning is not allowed. You can always set boundaries manually using invisible objects with box colliders, but it's much more convenient with the Umra Boundary Builder plugin. With it, you can easily set border parameters, thickness, height, etc., and then you just put markers on the map where you need fences, and that's it. After you've built your walls, you can always tweak them to your liking. Birds. Our island would be totally dead without the wildlife. Let loose some seagulls with Bird Flock Bundle. You can mark areas where the birds fly and choose their speed, and areas where they can land. There are several standard bird models, but you can always make and link your own. Dynamic Bone, or the Tail Shaker. To kind of liven up our character animation, we use the Dynamic Bone plugin. You attach the script to your character model. Within the model, you mark the bones that should swing when the character moves, and then you adjust the stiffness, elasticity, gravity, and other parameters to your liking. This will make your character's hair or tail move naturally while they walk around. These are all the plugins we use so far. All the links are in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe and give us a like if you like or don't, but come to see us again one day. Who knows, we might say something interesting. See you and good luck on your own projects.